Welcome to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, on 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break, where we talk to the power networkers of the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. And today I have the pleasure and privilege to interview Ije, who is part of the Commission International. Not just part of, you own it. This is your position.
That's right.
Dude, I can't even tell you how excited I am to have you on the show, because you and I got together before I got married, before I started my business, before any of this.
Right.
And so we kind of were in like the same groups. When we see each other, we'd be very excited.
Right.
We would go to Todd's Hessbacher's, games and all those things for networking at the Phillies games, whatever it may be. And then you called me one day and he said, Ash, I'm thinking about starting something new, and we just talked for I think a good hour, and I'm like, what are you waiting for, man? Like, just do it. And now you have. So I haven't had a chance to talk to you in depth about your business. So please tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what makes you awesome.
Sure. Well, Ashley, I got to say, it's a treat to be here today. It's really, I look forward to. I've seen and heard of your success over time, and I'm really excited to be part of that. Like you said,
Dude.
Before you got married. To say I know Ashley for a while, since way back, is really excited to be part of that, part of your story.
Aww,
so thanks for having me. Now, kind. I forget the question about the company.
So what do you do?
Tell me about you for a second. But so I found that I did bring that idea to fruition, and it's really exciting to be part of, to have folks around you who share common vision. You know, I think I really look at you as someone in my corner. You gave me that extra oomph that I needed to go out and do it. So yes, I founded my company, and what we do, it's really simple. It's really necessary, simple service that we provide, which is we help companies avoid winging it to grow sales.
Ooh, okay,
so
talk about that.
They have more structure, they have processes, they have a framework from which they work off, and not just, like they say, throw crap on the wall and see what sticks.
So it's you're providing a sales process and procedures.
As part of what we do.
As part of it, okay.
So, but the idea is that they have some structure, they have a framework from which the company that's customized or tailor-made for that company's needs, that environment, that works for them, for their people, and for the organization as a whole.
So when somebody calls you, what problem are they having?
Well, it could be anything from they don't have any clear metrics, they don't know how to measure success.
They don't even have, they have
no clue.
They have nothing.
Right.
So are your target audience typically people, or typically companies that have like 1 or 2 sales representatives that might be on a 1099 and like still learning the business, or is it, how does it work?
It's a range. We have folks that are solopreneurs, so they have their own business and they need that extra, they need some accountability around them so they can do what they're supposed to do and get the results that they want. So it could be anything from that scale to, we try to stay about 10 sales reps, so no more than 10 sales reps that either have found, so it's not always bad news.
Yeah.
They may have found some success over time, but understand that whatever has brought them to that point won't take them for the long term.
Right.
So how do they create something that's sustainable over time?
Now, is it industry specific? Like, are you, I know sales is sales, but is there a specific way that you found to be the most successful than, let's say, the Sandlers of the Sandler trainings and like all those guys? Like, what's the differentiator there?
Well, so there are a lot of methodologies, a lot of different approaches, a lot of so-called experts out there. And
everyone's like, I'm an expert.
Yeah, everyone's an expert now.
Eating air.
Whatever, to each his own. But not everything works for everyone. I'm sure, even clothes, for instance, and nothing. Cars of choice, nothing is for everyone.
Right.
So to say this is the way and then shove it down someone's throat, it will not work. What we do differently is first of all, we have experience in sales. I've been in sales since the 90s. And so we experience different economies, different cycles, different sales services and products. Right. And understanding that not everything works for everyone. So being able to bring all of that and create a solution for a company, it's really process driven. It's not so much the methodology. It's more about the steps, how to go from point A to point B. However you go that's your call. You and I will travel different routes, but we're going from point A to point B. We know point A, we know what point B is.
And to your point, methodologies will change over time. They'll change during, any kind of, they'll change over economics.
Absolutely.
So that's a really big point. I've never heard that before. That's really interesting.
That's what makes us different.
Yeah, and Stop touching the microphone. You had one job. Everybody in the control room's like, stop it.
My bad.
But to your point, like, you have the experience of seeing the shift, right? Because
right.
methodologies are ideas of ways to accomplish it, but you actually provide the custom solution specifically to what the market is telling you, what the metrics are telling you, building those metrics based off of the industry of what they're working on.
Unique environment.
And so what kind of clients are you working with? Like what you don't have to tell the names, but just industry-wise.
Well, we found success in the technology space. I have a technology background. We found success in mostly services versus products.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, sales is sales, you say that, but there's something different about selling a product versus selling a service or providing a service. Or it's just selling a service. Yeah. It's a little bit, it's subtle, but there is, even in B2B versus B2C, when you sell to a business versus selling to a consumer, it's sales, but it's a little different approach, different mindset.
Right.
So, that being said, we have found success in various industries. However, we stay away from some industries.
Like what?
Like the healthcare space. There's a lot of regulations around in that environment, so we choose not to dabble into that. So there's a couple other places like the medical marijuana. It's big here in Pennsylvania, but we choose to also stay away from that. And some of them like the pharmaceuticals, which is related to healthcare.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And so, how long has your business been open?
Well, so we've been around for 3 years, but officially about a year now officially. Yeah,
so exciting. That's so exciting. All right, so you are the sales guru in that capacity. You also have a podcast, right?
I do.
Talk about it.
Well, what you would know is that podcast is over.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah, the one that we started.
The Business Transformers Radio.
Business Transformers Radio.
Yeah.
We had our last recording early this year, maybe in the first quarter of this year.
200 episodes though.
We learned, we did it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a great run. I had a great time. I also learned a lot.
Yeah.
So now taking that learning, and I'm launching a new podcast.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you launching?
So it launches this quarter. We're still working on like the sound and everything, some studio stuff. But we have a couple of episodes in. We have some guests lined up already. Ooh. And the podcast is kind of takes the name from my business, but it's called Don't Wing It.
Dude. What are you going to be talking about? How companies just haven't winged it?
Well, the idea is that to provide a platform for people to learn about mistakes and how to avoid them.
Oh,
so
very nice.
we have experts in different fields. We have a lady from the marketing field coming up next week, talk about marketing as a whole and what it means and all that good stuff. There's a lady coming on who's a strategy specialist. I have a fitness expert coming in. So just everything about life, whatever affects you. So we have a mindness coach coming up. We have like I said, a strategy person coming up. Yeah. We have a lawyer coming up. So whatever affects life, they just learn from experts and understand the importance of having structure or having an idea, at least an idea of what you're doing before you get into it.
Right, and how much preparation do you do before you take on a client with them? Like before you when it comes down to, because I know we talked about being sales, but I know when I work with clients, there's a lot of prep that I do beforehand just because it's more, I try to gear my clients towards their personality, so that way the custom solution can be based off of their personality and what drives them. So I use things like the DISC assessment to kind of idea of if I've got a very introverted client, I'm not sticking them at a big event. I'm introducing them to different organizations that really cater to mentorship and really cater to the one-on-ones and actually have smaller, intimate mastermind size groups rather than big, affluent galas.
Yeah, you want to find what fits.
So how do you prepare for a conversation like that with your clients?
So we on our end go through a process of disqualifying clients.
Okay.
The conventional approach is to qualify. I mean, if you qualify, in my mind anyway, everyone is going to be a client.
Right.
But then you get some clients who you don't work well with, like you said, the DISC assessment. So what I do is I go through a process. First, understanding there's a need from my end. I'm looking at is there a need, is there an opportunity for us? Right. But the part that really separates the client from a non-client is what we call discovery. That's when I get in touch, really get close to, depending on who it is, if it's a business owner, if it's a sales team, but I spend some time with them, find out what's the state of the union, what's the state, what's going on right at this point in time. Right. What I'm looking for is really two things. Are they, if it's a solo person, are they coachable? And you can tell from conversations.
Well, how can you tell? Let's dig into that.
Do they read? I ask questions like, what are you reading now? Because I want to know, are they constantly learning? Because sales is one of those professions where You don't want to go to a Dr. Ashley who got a certification or her certification 10 years ago and has not updated it today.
No.
But you see a lot of salespeople who perhaps did one sales training and that's it.
And
or
that's it.
hit some success and that's it, I'm good.
They're not
you
constantly
want to keep,
learning.
So I ask questions like, what are you reading? And it's really casual. And
Yeah.
I'm finding out what I want to find out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if it's a team, what are they doing? Is there a process in place? Are they following that process? If not, why?
Interesting.
And then what have they done about it? If they're not, like, I want to find out something. So it's not necessarily, I don't have like a script, but I know
Yeah.
what I'm looking for depending on the environment.
And do you find out that more people who are in entrepreneur positions, whether the sole person, are more apt to be opened to the coaching, or are they more fixed in their ways because they're trying to learn everything themselves?
I've seen a lot. I don't think I've seen it all, but I've seen a lot, and I can't answer that question. It depends on who.
It just
is. It's a
depends on
whole
the
range.
person. Wow,
Absolutely.
interesting. All right. Well, look, when we come back, we're going to talk to EJ about his networking tactical tips and practical takeaways, because I know he's got a lot, because I see him at all the networking events. So I'm really excited for his education piece of this. So stay tuned, and you'll learn all about it when we return.
Nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. We're Stelly Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
I gotta wait for my little juju on the bottom to come up. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break. We've got a power networker in the house. His name is EJ. EJ. I'm not even going to pretend to know your last name. But one of the things we were talking about is I was my first podcast I was ever on was your podcast.
Right,
and
right.
that I never told you this, but that gave me the confidence to start thinking about doing it more.
Wow.
And so that came from recognizing the three people that were on who I respected wholeheartedly, that felt comfortable enough and felt like I had enough value to talk about what I did. And that was a huge differentiator, because I was getting validated on what I was trying to achieve when I was still trying to kind of hone in on that stuff. So thank you for that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Nope, stop boosting my ego.
Well,
It's already there.
Actually, I know it was early in your career, but I said it earlier, you've done a great job in really representing, promoting and representing your brand, who you are and your brand. It's a treat to be on your show today. I'm thrilled to be part of your story.
Okay, well, I'm not going to cry yet because I don't have enough makeup to cover it up. So thank you very much, my dear. So back to you, because this is about you. I got my face on everything. So let's talk about you. The biggest thing I know, everybody's like, oh, do you have coffee in here? I'm like, typically vodka. The best part about what you do is because you come from a sales background, but you understand the need and the process of what it takes to get to the sale, right? So when it comes to networking, the reason why I started my own position is because I was not a good closer, but I also don't think I was taught well to close without feeling like I was aggressive, right? And that also is a woman thing too. Like, we're very much more on the catering side, more of the personal side. That's more in my nature than just being very transactional. So I did well on everything but closing the deal. So I just started a networking business. But point that I'm trying to make is that when you are networking, how do you provide, or what do you train your people? How do you coach your people into into best sales practices? And then are there things that you're typically taught in sales that you just say, don't do that because that comes across as what everybody's saying about salespeople?
Right. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with that
Sure.
actually. So fundamentally, I don't ever coach or tell people, I don't coach or train from what to do.
Yeah.
I usually come from the why. Because the what, how you do it will be different. We can both run a mile. The pace at which we work, at which we run and breathe and all that stuff is
very
different
slow.
because we're different.
It's very sorry. Thinking about walking in my car, I'm like, oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's very different, but the purpose of that run, the purpose of that sale, whatever that may be, is where I come from.
Yeah.
So that being said, I do things and I share what I do and why I do it, and you can kind of take from that, especially if you're like brand new.
Yeah.
Now it's different when you already have, or you're already doing something and you want to correct your ways.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of framework.
It's a different approach,
yeah, it's
right.
a different approach. So, but the whole thing is, I will come from what I do, why I do it, and if you can jive with that, we can create what works for you.
So here's a question. So let's do a little consulting right now, or coaching. So I have a client that is ghosting me, right? What advice would you give on the proper way of handling a typical, they didn't sign the paperwork yet. I sent them over, let's say, an agreement. Because we don't use the word contract, we use the word agreement.
Right.
See?
That's nice. That's more polite.
There you go, more polite. And the agreement it lays out everything. They were all gung-ho, and then they just never signed it to start. They were
Sure.
ready to go. They gave me a start date, the whole thing. Again, this is all hypothetical. What would you say to your team, or to the people that you're training and providing the process oriented of how to manage that situation?
Sure.
Because that's a common thing among
absolutely.
among entrepreneurs
it
all the
happens
time.
even to the best of us. But there are two approaches to that scenario. One is the preventative. How do you prevent that from happening in the first place? And then one is the reactive mode. So preventing, as part of that comes with having a process, but also in the actual transaction, the conversation around the contract is getting clear, setting expectations. So for instance, hey, actually, I'm going to send you this getting it clear, first of all, that they're the right person to sign it. I'm assuming all that is clear. They're the right person to sign it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
All that, I'm assuming that's all clear.
In this hypothetical
scenario,
situation, yes.
So you are the one, you're the boss, you're signing the paperwork. I send it to you, but I'm getting confirmation or getting some commitment from you. Hey, actually, I'm going to get this to you by close of business today, perhaps in an in-person meeting, not over the phone or email. I'm not a fan of that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get this back from you by, and you let me know next week, Wednesday or whatever. So now I have a reason to hold you to account, because you told me, Ije, you get it back to me by next week, Wednesday. So come Wednesday, nothing from you. Okay, life happens. Thursday, close the business Thursday. Hey, Ashley, you said you get this to me Wednesday. Just checking in this Thursday.
See if there's any issue.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yep.
Any questions?
Now, would you email or would you call?
Well, I would call, voicemail, and email.
They don't return your phone.
Yeah, I would call, leave a voicemail, because I have a reason to call. I have a reason. You've given me a reason to call. So I'm not a nuisance. I'm not a bug. I'm not pestering you.
Gotcha. Okay, so
it's a whole different, the whole different approach here, because we've set it up from the beginning. That's the preventative.
Right.
Now the reaction is, or the reactive mode here is, okay, so something didn't quite work out there. I can't make you wrong for that. I can't make you bad for that. Life happens. Who knows? I don't wish you ill, but who knows? They've been dealing with life. So I'll give some space, a couple of days, 3 days, depending on the deal, depending on what kind of connection I have.
How you feel about it.
Yeah, how I feel about it. But I will follow up. Call or email. Call, for me, preferably call first. People hide behind email. I hide behind email. So I'll give a call first. If you don't call me, don't pick up my phone and leave a voicemail, and you don't respond back, then you're ghosting me. Now ghosting doesn't happen. Ghosting is only it's only a mindset. So there's no ghosting happening. Of course. But I also want to make sure I don't have any energy around it. I'm not holding you wrong. I'm not making you wrong for it. There's no energy. I'm just following through on our conversation. Yeah. I'll do that a few times, and kind of let it be for a little bit and circle back. And then and let it go. At what point do you let it go? Well, it depends too on the kind of connection. So, I had an email just this morning. Oh, yeah. So when I was introduced to this lady, gave her a call, responded to email, gave her a call, nothing back. Send a follow-up email today, and she said, "Oh, thanks for following up." So it depends, but I will make it light, and I won't put too much energy. I think that reason I'm saying that energy is, however you do it, so long as you don't come across as you owe me, where you goddamn it, or you don't want any. Just they might not be interested. Life might be happening. Just give them that space.
So I love that. I think that's great advice. Are you doing any workshops? Like, are you giving sales trainings?
So we do have we do workshops for groups. We do put on public trainings that we. But, I mean, so we're not a sales training company.
Understood, but I think
so
if you're providing an education piece to like some of these hard questions, I think it's a great not only lead generator, but you're also educating your audience.
Right. So we do offer public. I say public, I mean open to everyone workshops. But mostly what we focus on is doing training sessions in-house.
Internally,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Right.
All right, so networking, because this is a networking show.
Yes.
What has been the difference between networking for another company that you're working for and networking for yourself? What's been the biggest difference?
Well, I can't goof. No, I'm just kidding. Well, let me see. Well, personally, I've always carried myself like the last company I was at. When I left, the company logo was blue. When I left, I told one of the leadership guys that I bleed blue. The reason why I say that is I represent. I do the best. I have to say I put my best foot forward. I try to do the best, represent myself and my organization as best as I can.
Right.
It is different though, going as myself, because I guess I can from the beginning make an assessment of, do I want to engage this person or not.
Do you think it's different? Do you think you hold people to a different standard when it's working with you rather than working with a company?
Say that again.
So do you think you hold people to a different standard? Like, do you think you hold them to having a higher expectation of them as a person? Like, do you feel like you get a chance to choose now your clients rather than feeling like you need to bring on something to hit your metrics?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I get to choose who I want to work with. If I want to engage with you, from the beginning, and nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm more selfish of my time.
Good for you.
So, first of all, I've cut back the number of events that I go to, how often and what events that I go to. I'm being more selective.
More intentional.
More intentional.
Where are you
with
going?
The events.
What kind of events are you going to?
So lately, I've been focusing more on tech events, tech-related events. Philadelphia is huge. I mean, this is a huge tech city.
Do you know the Philadelphia startup leaders? They're huge. Yeah, they're doing stuff all the time.
So I'm also looking to get more involved with groups, not just the events, but also groups. So I had a conversation with the PACT group here recently. I had a conversation with the New Jersey Technology Council.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm getting more involved with, and not just from a networking standpoint, but also to provide. A lot of companies get started, and this is unfortunate, get started, and it's a great idea, blah, 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 but don't understand or don't realize the importance of, you have to sell.
Yeah.
You have to sell your product or your service. You have to sell your company, unless you get funding from somewhere, from the universe, and they're not accountable for it, but you need to have some kind of money coming in. So they overlook the importance of sales, and my whole goal is to educate people on the science and art of sales and how it's important, why it's important, and how you can make it work for you.
All right, Darlon, because you're part of process and procedures and all these great things. I love it. I love a good checklist. Tell me the top 3 things to do at an event and top 3 things to avoid.
Let me start with top 3 things to avoid.
I love it. Gotta disqualify. Gotta disqualify.
But I think we talked about this on a podcast not too long ago. But the broad categories, don't be weird. Now, what does that mean? That you could be weird in many ways.
Don't be Ashley Owens.
Or don't be Ije, I guess. But I'll give you a quick story. I went to an event. This was more of a panel, and we had the mayor of Philadelphia come through to speak. He was a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Of course, the mayor of Philadelphia.
Big deal. Yeah.
So my table was at the back, and so he's coming in. People are saying hi to him. I'm standing there to say hi to him, and there's a lady right beside me, and she seemed very nice, but I figured she had an intention as well, just like I did.
Yeah.
So mayor comes through, but she was in front of me. So she says, "Hey, mayor, remember me?"
Nope.
I'm like, "Who are you for the mayor of Philadelphia to remember?" And then he says, "Yeah, I remember you."
Of course, he's going to say that.
And she says, "Yeah, you told me this." I'm like, "Really? Who are you? Like, you must be something special."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I say that because that's being awkward.
Agreed.
That right there is being awkward.
And it's also not being polite.
It's
I feel
not being polite.
I mean, I love Don't Be Weird.
And
I
that
need
same
a
event,
t-shirt.
it was a luncheon. There was a guy right beside me. He literally ate all the food in his plate. Like, it could have also just licked up the plate. Like,
Oh,
he ate
wow.
everything. I'm like, you know what? Avoid that guy.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
And the same event, I was having a conversation with two people, and this third guy walked in. He apparently knew the two people, but he
these
walked in
stories.
and he just messed up our conversation, and I left because
Did he just like kind of
he just walked in
insert
and
himself?
just inserted
Yeah.
himself. No permission, no hello, nothing. And they thought it was awkward. I thought it was awkward, so I left. But that's awkward. That's 3 examples of
Oh my
awkward.
gosh.
Okay. Now, what you can do and what you should do, and which I do, but I think is just general good practice.
Yeah.
First of all, check any kind of baggage at the door. I don't even want to talk about the weather. Like,
Mental
oh,
baggage?
it was raining out. Oh, traffic. Forget all that. That's already negative. When you come off that way, you already give out signs of I'm a negative person, even if
Yeah.
you're not. But
Yeah.
that's negative vibe that you're putting out. People don't want to interact with negative people. So that's one thing. Is check whatever baggage, whatever it is. You missed a sale. You're not feeling well. Whatever it is. You need your coffee. Check it at the door and come in with your best self. Other thing too is be curious. Now, I'm going to put it part 3 right there. Be curious, but also be interested. Because I've seen people ask me questions, well, what do you do? Almost like transactional. They're asking the question.
Yeah.
They don't really care to know what you do. So listen, engage, be interested.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Besides not being weird, look into this camera right here and tell people how they can find you.
Sure, so the company is the Commission International.
Not that camera. That's
Yep.
us looking at stuff.
Oh, that
right
camera right there? Okay, got it. Yeah, the company is the Commission International. Our website is Don't Wing It, so www.don'twingit.com. You can follow us on social media at Don't Wing It, and I'm on LinkedIn as well.
He's brilliant. Everybody, please make sure you follow, fan, and like Mr. Have I been saying your name wrong this entire
You know, I should just go by
goddamn
first name only.
time? I swear to
Yeah.
gosh. Is it EJ or?
Yeah, it's right.
No, but you said it differently. Whatever. We're
Yeah.
going to talk about
Oh,
that.
I
as
bring the
mutual
accent
friends.
on.
I'm the worst. Please make sure you follow us next week when we talk to another power networker in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. Make sure you follow, fan, like Mr. EJ from today's show, and make sure you stay tuned next week. So thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.